Okay.
Yeah, so here, like the first game we had, like on the list, is like a juggernaut match. Me
Hmm.
and Evron both played that in that match. We did pretty well. It ended at
Hmm.
38 minutes. That Spectre game is like a terrible game because we tilted, and then I ended up being Spectre solo safe lane.
Yeah.
Just bad. The third game there is a Wraith King game that I played. That one might not be a bad game. Like
Hmm.
we seemed to be winning the game, and then something went horribly wrong. I mean, it could have been that we left someone free farming, and they just happened to be like much stronger. But it seemed like we had a pretty good like early game that
Hmm.
was good, and I thought we had a decent team comp for going into the late game, but it really just didn't work. So that might maybe
Yeah, I think that game actually.
that game's like
Okay.
might be a good game to look at.
Yeah, sure. Let's do this one. I will download it really quick.
So yeah, the Red King lost the third one down.
Yeah. Yeah, my Wraith King mechanics aren't the best. I haven't played Wraith King in a while. I mean, you can tell from the games. It's like my last hitting needed some work. I know that. But
No, it's all good. That's what I'm
yeah,
here to help with.
Yeah, you'll watch it and figure it out.
All right. So, real quick, what skill level is this? Like, what MMR bracket?
Is this normal?
It would be 2.5K. I think was the average.
Okay.
It really low.
Okay. Oh, don't worry about it being like low or whatever. It doesn't matter so much. As long as you're like steadily improving, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was 1800 like 2 months ago.
Really, 2 months ago? Okay, that's pretty good. Like that's actually like that's good improvement. Good job, dude.
I think like my ranked win rate is 60% right now.
Yeah, that's excellent. I mean, if you keep that up in a year, you'll be like around 4K, 5K.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it's excellent. You got to put in the work though. It's not easy.
Yeah. I there's like a lot. It's like one of those things where you just don't know how much you don't know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even, I mean, I'm 6.6K, and it's like sometimes I play with a 7K player who just does something weird, and then like it clicks. Like, holy shit, this guy has like so much more knowledge than me. Like, he knew to do this like little tiny thing, but it's because like he knew all of this other stuff, and he like went through the steps beforehand. Like, it's this game is crazy deep. It's really ridiculous, actually.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. Like, I see people just do wild things that are like at higher MMRs. And
Remember the RTZ fucking disassemble the helm of the Dominator, you have to double
yeah,
summon?
crazy.
How do you think of that on the fly?
Yeah. That guy is pretty okay at Dota.
Yeah.
He's just
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he could probably get on the top team if he really put in the effort.
Maybe, but I was thinking with Ti. I don't know if he's that good yet.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Okay. So we are OD, Skywrath. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Here, let me open up the list. I didn't see the. Oh, shit, this screen is. Oh, this should be okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
If you want, I can try calling, and maybe the quality will be a little bit better.
No, the quality
for the
is
screen
fine.
share.
I just didn't notice that you were screen sharing with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
So we were laning together, which is why this is gonna be kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Oh, you're laning together?
No,
Is-
no.
Oh, you're not rating. Oh, okay. No, that's fine. All right. So, a little flirting at the start. Astral imprisonment, great.
Yeah.
So OD is mid, Wraith King, and Bane Skyra supports. Okay, you have a strong safe lane. Do you want me to like focus on somebody for this? Because like I can give you guys general tips, but it's pretty tough to like go super in depth for two different people in like 1 hour. It's up to you guys like how you want to structure it, for sure.
Mid game was pretty
For this game, I think it more overall. But if you could give specific tips, I mean, it would like Wraith King would be nice because there's just some things I felt like I should have been stronger at some points in the game. I really didn't know why I wasn't.
We could really just focus on Wraith King because my lane was pretty uneventful. Like I don't think actually anything happened. I'm pretty sure we just spent the whole time just CSing.
Okay, sure.
I mean, and I started ganking, but I always exclusively ganked bot lane, and I remember that was one of my biggest issues, just like knowing when to gank. Like, kind of like just general, just like not just being more efficient, like just not really doing dumb stuff. So
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fine. We can do general stuff. We'll just see how it goes. Okay, so pretty standard start. People are just going for runes. This is all great. Real quick, you should have sent yourself a salve here. You need regen, just no matter what. Especially if you're playing against the bottom.
Okay.
Because you can just randomly get hit by like an arrow or something and like lose your lane if you don't have any regen. So if you get the bounty rune as mid, definitely send yourself a salve. That will help a lot.
Alright, I'll do that next time.
Okay, so this is an interesting lane. You guys can win this lane, but you have to be careful of their level 3 spike. So this is something that's like specific to this game, but Phoenix is really bad at level 1. Like, she's hard to kill because she has Icarus dive, but she does no damage. Like, you see, the damage is 10 per second, and it lasts for 4 seconds, so it's 40 damage. And then you factor in magic resist. So this skill is like basically useless, except for a gap closer. She also doesn't do much damage with right clicks. So her real like power spike comes at level 3 when she gets level 2 fire spirits, and then she goes from doing 40 damage to like 120, and it's quite a bit. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, that was a good trade. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about this. So the initial decision to go on him was completely like fine. It was great. But I think you hit him a couple times and then you back off right here. Like Bane backs off as well. Basically, like you guys force this too hard. It's good because you got the kill, but you don't want to just trade kills in most cases. It's like it's not super bad because you trade kills for the carry. Like in this case, you get the gold and XP and you don't die. It's only Bane who dies, but you still don't want to give up kills like this.
I thought maybe in late here, like Bane was gonna go back, and that, like, and I had enough like the Q. But yeah, I think we pushed up too far into the creeps. I don't know if that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, that's the issue with this. Is like, see right here, you can hit him once more and then back off immediately. And then if you guys back off here, like you guys have a huge HP advantage on these guys. Like this guy only has tangos. He has to get salved up by Phoenix or something if he wants to stay in lane, or he has to wait like 40 seconds of tango regen in order to like be able to lane again. So you can just, after this engagement, you can just control the creep wave and like deny, and they can't really do anything about it like until they get healed up. So like this is a very solid trade if you didn't commit to this like second part. So it's like not a disaster, but just getting the kill is not as good as dominating the lane like through just like a war of attrition kind of thing. Like you could win through CS rather than trying to win through kills, and that's much safer.
Okay.
But not super bad, so it's okay. Okay, salve up. In this kind of lane, you probably want boots first. You just need to be able to run faster and avoid their like position-dependent spells like Fire Spirits and Slithering Crush.
Yeah.
Also, this is something small, and it's not something you can control really, but Bane should be pulling here. Or, additionally, you can pull this side camp. Like, it's worth giving up a couple CS to do this because you're like effectively denying creeps as well. So let's try to find a spot where we can do this. Okay. So Slardar dies. Great. Like right here, as soon as you get these two last hits, you could back off, salve, and then like get ready to pull this camp. And like stay in XP range, but like eat this tree, and then get ready to pull the camp when the creeps die. And that way, like you'll be denying some creeps, and you'll pull the wave back a little bit as well. You could also just pull this wave, like the oncoming wave, like this one, rather than getting this one. That's totally fine too. Because like you're gonna miss these two CS anyway, since you have to salve, so you might as well like try to do something in that time. Also, your audio is a little bit low, but yeah.
Oh, sorry. We'll just lean in closer.
Oh, it's okay. No worries.
Why would you salve and then do it? Like, how are you going to aggro the creeps if you have salve rolling? Like, and he didn't have enough mana to stun.
So let's watch what happened.
Like,
okay.
Aggro the jungle creeps to pull it out. Like, how is he supposed to aggro?
Well, you can just salve right here. Like, it would have to be something quick. Like, you don't necessarily have to salve right away. You can pull the creeps and then salve. But here you have the time to. If you were like super planning ahead and like really knew what you were doing, you could salve like right here and then run here, and by the time you need to pull it this way, you would be like you would have the salve completed.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't break. But yeah, it would be perfectly fine to just pull and then salve too. Like you have a huge buffer of time.
And so is that something that like as far as like better play goes, like you want to be pulling those camps constantly?
Yeah, no, definitely. You should pull whenever you possibly can, but you also want to make sure that you're not like killing your carry. This is a more so a support thing, but if you are somebody who can last hit under tower and you have the regen to do so, and you're not going to get like dove or something by these guys, and in this case they're probably not going to because you just killed them, but you should be pulling as much as you can because that will give you more XP from the neutral camps. It'll give the supports more XP. It's technically not the carry's job to do it, but if the support's not doing it, then you might as well do it because it really helps you.
Yeah.
So like in an ideal world, Cigarette Smoker 32 would be pulling this rather than you. It's quite a name, by the way.
So what if, what if in the lane, like, do you want to like see it like? Do you want the wave pushed out first, and then you want to stack them, or do you want like, or does it not really matter? Like, can you go like stack it and then just go back to lane and keep farming? It's just a good idea to keep stacking. I mean, because I know someone had told me like that if there are like how it is right now, where like I can like get some CS, like I should do that and instead of like stacking a camp, let's say, because the golden lane is worth it more than like a stacked camp or something like that.
I think we're talking about two different things. So I'm talking about just pulling, like physically pulling the creeps like into your creep wave.
Oh, okay.
So that the wave aggroes and then goes to this neutral camp. It wouldn't be worth it to stack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That makes things a little bit more clear.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I don't know if I used the wrong word or whatever, but yeah, definitely pulling is important. Stacking is important on some heroes, but that's really a support thing. If you're getting free farm in lane, then definitely don't stack. Just last hit.
Okay.
Especially if you're on a hero like Wraith King, who can't really clear giant stacks.
Right.
Okay. But here it would really benefit you guys to pull because these two are able to farm like freely in a lane where you just killed them. So if you were pulling, the lane would be farther back. It would be a little bit more dangerous for them to farm. Like they would have to be worried about like maybe a Skywrath TPing or something like that.
Okay.
But they're pretty safe here, and you don't want them to be safe. I mean, that might sound silly and like stupid, but
no, it makes sense.
Okay. So, I usually like buying treads on Wraith King just because the extra mana really helps. Also, he benefits from the attack speed. He does a lot of natural damage, but his attack speed is pretty low, so it helps him quite a bit. It depends on what you want to go though. Okay. That's unlucky. Okay. Oh, he still dies. So I'm not sure how this went down. But let's see. Okay. So that was pretty nice, but basically you just need to know, like, or try to coordinate with your support, like, who's going to do what at the start. I think it makes more sense to Nightmare first.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's okay to stun first, because then you'll have another stun later, like, because the cooldown is relatively short, it's 8 seconds. The reason I think Nightmare is good first is because, like, when he goes for Icarus dive, like, there's a chance for the stun to catch him, and it's pretty hard for Nightmare too. Yeah, I don't know, this is just a coordination thing. I wouldn't worry too much about this, but obviously it's not good to stun and then Nightmare, because, like, basically you didn't do any damage with the stun because he was immune. Like, Nightmare has a 1 second immunity. Yeah, let's read it. Mirth's image. I can't really find it. Okay, whatever. So when Nightmare is cast on a unit, they have a 1 second immunity timer to where they can't take any damage from anything, like right at the start. So just keep that in mind when you're playing with Bane, because you don't want to waste your spells.
Right.
But this was a weird gank. I'll look at the stuff leading up to it. We'll see what happens. So it was basically just you going for the rune, and you decide to walk down. Okay, you did this pretty well, I think. Like, sending the illusion was good. The timing was a little weird, because, like, you show up in lane as as your at the same time as your illusion does. So it's like kind of a wasted fake, but it's really not bad. It's a good idea. And unless you plan to go for this Astral, it was a bit weird. Like, if you plan to cancel his Icarus dive, then it was fantastic. It was a sick play. But if you didn't, then it's a bit iffy.
Well, as soon as so the way Phoenix works, I actually said that for that last game was she like kicks back her wings and then she does the Icarus dive. So I was just waiting for the wing kick back. I was just like, had like finger pressing.
Okay. Well, yeah, if you're waiting for it, then that's sick. It's a good play.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Because what it looked like was like an Icarus dive cancel. I thought that was pretty good.
Yep. Here you should just TP mid. You should just buy a TP and go mid for sure. Because now you get around all this way. You can just buy it at the side shop. So that would be good.
Yeah.
Because now you're missing like a few CS. It doesn't add up to much, but you know, a couple CS is a couple CS. It's really good.
It's like 200 gold.
Yep. Plus some experience too. And so this guy has a level on you now. And I'm not sure if this was from like... Okay. No, it wasn't really him last hitting you, because you missed about 5 CS. So this was just like from your gank bottom. He's out leveling you now. So like, I'm not even totally sure if this was worth it. Like, it was a good play, and you got your Wraith King, like some gold, and gained some experience. So it's not bad, but I'm just not sure if it's like worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't really have any like constructive advice for that, but yeah. I think it depends like on if this guy is going to dominate you, whether or not, or if you leave and he gets a level advantage. If you come back and you can't even lane because of the level advantage, then I think it's a bad play. But in this case, it's a bottom, and he's not going to like crush you unless you just get hit by arrows or whatever. So I think this is fine in this case. Okay. So moving on. You went for. Looks like you were building treads, and then you went for a wand halfway through. Do you know what you were going for here?
I think if it keeps playing, I think I build a wand and then finish treads. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, in this case, I think you should have just committed to one item.
I think that is what happens.
I think it would have been fine to just go for a wand and wait to buy your treads at the side shop. Reason being is wand is like, you know, a high value item, obviously. It's a great item. It gives you a lot of effective HP and mana. And you also cannot buy it at the side shop. Like, you can't buy circlet and iron branches here, but you can buy your treads. So I think that's a good reason to buy wand over the gloves of haste here.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why actually I did that. It's okay. Yeah, so wand is better. So just have brown boots and wand, and then finish the treads.
Yeah, I think that would be better. Even if you had gold to complete treads, you could just get like wand and then one treads component, and then complete your treads when you get back into lane or whatever. Just because like you don't want to have to use a courier for like 2 iron branches and a stick. That's just awkward. And plus your mid might need it or your offlane might need it or something.
Yeah.
It's just like not an efficient use of the courier.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, not a big deal though. Certainly not the end of the world.
We were talking about actually in a game earlier, like, is there like, what's the best way to like, is there any theory on like maximizing the use out of a courier, or do people just call it when they need it, kind of thing?
Well, I'm sure there is like a mathematical formula like you could do in every game, but typically it's better to just like stick to the priority list. Like, okay, mid is #1 priority in every game, and then carry is #2. Then offlaner, or then supports, and then offlaner. Actually, I think the offlaner is like last on the list.
Yeah.
But just let mid use a courier whenever possible. He's in a 1v1 lane usually, so he needs to be strong in order to stay in his lane. So that's the gist of it. But let's talk about the skank. Okay.
Yeah, it sucked.
Sorry.
Because we had like just absolutely bad coordination, and I should have said something because I kind of saw it coming. Just terrible.
Yep. That's definitely, if you're playing with a friend, it really helps to call out your stuns. Like, okay, so you're walking up for the gank. Here, I'll kind of narrate it. Okay, so right now your friend is saying, okay, I want to gank bottom. I have a haste rune, and you're like, okay, I'll stun when you get close. Okay, stunning. Like as soon as you walk up, and then that's like. That's good enough communication. It's not exact, but like it gets the job done for sure. Because then there won't be scenarios like this where you guys miss a CC or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, you should not. So I don't think he actually lives here, even though that just happened and that's bad. But since you guys walked up and double stun or get triple stunned, it like the gank basically can't happen at this point. You could very easily just stay spread out, or like just have Wraith King tank the stun, and then OD can be doing the damage this whole time. Then Wraith King gets out of stun, and then he stuns Sarder. So it looks like he ends up dying anyway. So even though you guys misplayed really hard, like in multiple ways, he still dies. So it's all good. No worries.
Yeah. So we had the miscommunication on stuns and plus standing close. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. I do think the spell order was correct though. Like I think in this case, Wraith King has to stun first, and then you actually can imprison after after the stun duration is up. Like you could stun him and then each hit him a couple times and then imprison and then get ready to stun again, because then like your stun cooldown is ticking down this whole time while he's imprisoned. So that's something you can do. It's not necessary, but it's like it's a way to add value to your spells or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, so this worked out fine even though you guys misplayed. All good.
Is there anything like I should be doing better? Obviously I should be seeing a little better. But like, is there anything is there any like glaring like stuff that like good carriers are doing and then I'm just totally missing?
Well,
I'm sure there is, but like maybe like I don't know if there's like just something like it's easy to fix or something like that.
Well, I did see something and it's not easy to fix. It's basically just like, I'll try to find an example. It's basically you just let Phoenix hit you a lot for free when there's no reason to, and you can still get CS. You just you take a lot of like little chip damage. Like here's a good example. You don't respect that your creeps are very low here, so when these creeps die, the enemy creeps are going to switch to you next because you're the closest target. So like right here, this creep is about to die, and then you walk up slightly. So these creeps like take a little, or they hit you a little bit. Like at least these two do, and that might not seem like a total or like. Fuck, I can't talk right now. It might not seem like a big deal, but it really does add up, especially in lanes where like these guys have a lot of kill potential, and like these guys haven't been playing well, and they're probably not going to get aggressive because they've been feeding, but better laning partners would abuse this. I think like they would recognize that they can chip you like quite a bit more, and eventually go for a kill.
Okay, so so at a higher armor, I'd probably just keep getting chipped, and I wouldn't have a hard time in lane.
Because that is usually where like dual off lanes shine, is chip damage and then like all inning when people are at kill thresholds.
Okay.
So I definitely like, I don't want to go too crazy on this because it's like really hard. It's hard as fuck to do this perfectly. But start with just keeping in mind like when your creeps are going to die and when the enemy creeps are going to die. And like try to recognize when you're vulnerable and maybe when the enemies are vulnerable to the same thing too.
Okay.
That's something that would help a lot, I think. Alright, so speed up a little bit. And you did mention the CS thing, but I think that's quite important.
Yeah. I wondered, do you have any tips on like practicing? Or is it just like playing as being more like aware of actually just last hitting?
Well, my biggest tip is to get so good at it that you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's easier said than done, of course. But
it's like, how do I do that?
There is a custom game. I haven't played the custom game, but I think it's called Last Hit Challenge or something. I'm not sure if this is it.
I saw like Last Hit Exercise was like another game.
Yeah. You could try one of these. Look for one that like lets you restart just in the game and lets you pick your heroes again, and also one that doesn't let you start with items. And that's just a good one. I recommend trying this out. Or alternatively, you could just make a lobby and last hit. The best way to get better at last hitting is just to practice. Unfortunately, like that's how you have to do it.
Right.
There's no like 5 easy ways to get better at last hitting or whatever.
Yeah.
But definitely practice. That is the key.
Yeah, what I've noticed is like I have a much better CSing on obviously the heroes I play more, and then I don't play so much Wraith King, so like my CSing that tanks.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll practice.
Yep, that's the best way to do it, for sure. Okay, so this TP was pretty iffy. It's good that you bought a TP, but there's no reason for you to TP here. Like, this guy is dead to rights. He might have been able to, like, Centaur stomp and interrupt this earlier, but, like, he forced so many TPs here, and, like, you guys got a kill, but it's, like, it's kind of like him just making space, actually, because, like, now you just have 4 heroes randomly sitting in this lane, and, like, you guys could push, but do you really want to? Like, you don't have the best pushing heroes. You can't just, like, melt this tower and then, you know, go back to your lanes or whatever. So you're neglecting your farm here, and you're not going to get much out of it. Like, you were involved with the kill, which is great, but you're trading all of this farm and, like, maybe some jungle time or something for the cost of just killing a Chen. Now, I think it's only bad because he was, like, dead before you even TP'd. Like, his hero, like, could not possibly live unless your teammate's just AFK'd. So maybe it's okay if you TP in and, you know, secure your team the kill, like, guaranteed, like, you needed to be there for the kill. But I think because, like, he was already dead, it was just a waste. Like, you could have just gone to jungle.
Okay.
So, anyway, still not the end of the world. You can at least, like, push this. Okay, it's bad if you just walk away. Okay, yeah, you're trying to get too active here for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright. So, in this case, like, you could have recovered here by just, like, pushing this lane and, like, creating pressure here, but instead, like, you give up your good opportunity for a play. So, like, the Chen play was bad, but it wasn't a total disaster because there was still an objective around here. You really want to focus on objectives as any hero, like, you play. Your priority shifts slightly depending on which role you're playing, but the general, like, priority list is objectives, farm, kills, when it comes to playing carry anyway.
Okay.
So, like, if you can get objectives, then you take it 100%. If you can't get objectives, then you just go farm. And if you can't farm, then you try to go for kills. Sometimes you need to go for kills to get objectives, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, it all goes back to, like, what objective can I get out of what I'm doing right now?
Okay.
So here you're definitely, like, trying to do too much for your team. You should just be taking a CS here. It doesn't matter if it's Invoker's lane or whatever. Like, I don't know. It doesn't matter so much. You guys should just push this tower together.
Okay.
But I disagree with the original decision to TP, so that's relevant. Okay. So, not much to say about this. You guys shouldn't be grouping here, though. Okay, this is, like, a really common thing at, like, around 2K, actually, is, like, you guys just randomly grouped for no reason. Like, Dota, it is a team game, but only to an extent. Like, the best thing you can be doing for your team right now is farming by yourself and getting strong. And right now you're just, like, splitting farm between 3 heroes. Like, you're all, like, trying to CS, and you're all splitting XP. It's just a really inefficient thing to do, to group up so early. Now, it would be slightly different if you could, like, just maul this tower and get it down really quickly, like within 2 creep waves or something, but you're not going to be able to. So there's no reason for you to be here. You should just be off farming. I remember, Evron, I think that's how you pronounce it. Sorry if I mispronounced it. But, okay. Yeah, you had the same issue when you were playing, in our last session. Like, you would just randomly walk to a lane and, like, group with your team. Because, like, I don't know, you were team fighting or something. Or you wanted to gank. But really, you need to be selfish on course. Like, when you're mid and carry. You just need to farm really hard. And, like, TP into fights, ideally. That's the best thing you can do. Okay. Okay, that was fine. Okay. So let's talk about this. Alright, so it starts out with Chen ganking. This is pretty much just caused by you being too aggressive in a situation where you can't be. And I think part of this comes from just having teammates next to you. Like, you're getting a mob mentality kind of thing. Like, you guys just group up and you feel invincible because you have teammates there. But really, these guys have a better team fight than you at this point in the game. Like these heroes are not good at team fighting on your team. I mean, Wraith King's okay because he can, he has 2 lives or whatever. OD is okay because he does a lot of damage, but other than that, you're not really good at fighting. Like you don't have the control to actively team fight these heroes. And this is all when Phoenix didn't even get her spells off. Like she didn't have mana to use any of her spells except Icarus Dive. Like this is a pretty, I wouldn't say disastrous fight, but it's pretty bad. Like OD dies and you have to go back to base. Whereas this wouldn't happen if you guys were just off farming. Maybe worst case scenario, one of you guys gets ganked, but at that point, like, if you're farming the jungle or something, or a lane, like, you're not all clustered in one place. And, like, basically, this is super bad because you guys died in front of an objective, and you were together. So not only are they is there a natural reaction to just push this tower after getting a kill on one of your cores, you also can't really do anything about it. Like, normally, when you trade a tower, you have like some kind of like actual trade. Like maybe you're trading it for just farm. Maybe you're trading it for a tier 1 tower, or maybe you're trading it for like Roshan or something like that. You're getting something out of it. But in this case, you guys are getting like the opportunity to run back to your fountain because you have to heal after a fight. So basically my point is don't group unless you're 100% sure that you can kill the enemy team and you've like actually thought about it. As this is something that like almost every 2K player will get sucked into. They'll just like randomly group with their team, and that's not what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know how else to explain it. It's kind of a complicated thing.
Well, I think it also has to do with the fact that like you're telling us like they have a much better team fight here, and it's going to be very difficult for us to win.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I am a 2K player, so I don't actually see that as clearly as you do. So I'm thinking, okay, we probably could fight. Because we have all these like stuns, right? So this is like this like very low level thought process.
Right.
Yeah. So on the scoreboard, I think we might be ahead in kills. So like you have this like, I just think it's like bad. I mean, just bad game knowledge. That might be the case where it's like you think, okay, I have a few more kills and like all my teammates are here, so we could probably kill them. And then, so obviously you've highlighted that's not the case.
But how many kills? We can't actually see the kills because our resolution.
Yeah, I'm missing like the top edge of the screen and the left edge of the screen. So I don't know the net worths, like who's actually leader, and then I don't know who's on what the kills are right now.
Well, it's 6-3 after that fight. You guys are ahead.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not like you guys were ahead, but it's not that big a deal. Here, I'll look at the. Can you see the gold graph?
Yeah, but who's okay? So Radiant. Okay. So yeah, they're ahead. Okay.
Yeah, they're actually ahead in this case because they had Shen farming a lot as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I do get what you're saying with not being able to really tell who's gonna win a team fight since like you have a lack of game knowledge or whatever. I definitely understand that, and that's all the more reason for you to just like default to farming, because like if you're farming, then the only thing that can go bad is you can die. That's the only thing that can be bad. Like you can die to like Clinks or something, but at that point like. It's much easier to break down if a hero can kill you than it is to break down an entire team fight and like how that's going to be structured and like what abilities counter which and like who's going to use their abilities first and who's going to use them in what place and like how I'm going to position my hero. Whereas like you just have to, when you're thinking about if you're going to die to a gank, like can this guy kill me? What does he need to do? Okay, done.
Yeah.
Or what can I do to prevent the death? And then okay, done. Like it's much more simple. And during that whole time you're getting golden experience, so you're ability to team fight later will get better, and you won't have to be as good.
Okay. I mean that's a great tip. That's something that I think actually helped me quite a bit. But I've like what I also sometimes notice is where like if I'm in a lane farming and like something's happening mid, like people will start fighting and like I don't want to fight, but like if you don't fight, then it's like your team will still fight. And maybe there's like, I mean, let's just keep going through this game, and maybe if there is like, if it ever comes up, I'll say something then.
Okay, sure. I do know what you're experiencing though. Basically, you only fight if you think it's going to benefit you. If not, you just push towers and try to get something out of the space that your teammates are making. That's a like really general answer. But just be super selfish when you're the carry. I know there's like a bad stigma towards selfish carry players or whatever, like on Reddit or whatever. But who cares?
Yeah.
Just you're playing to win and get better, so nobody cares. What like if you're being selfish or not, just do you. Okay, so you went for an armlet build. I think this is okay. I think I prefer the blade mail build in like most games.
I think it would be better in this game too because of Clinks.
Yeah. Also, like they have a weird team composition. For armlet, like basically armlet is really good when they have a lot of burst and like you just need the extra chunk of HP. But it's not super good against dot damage, like with against Phoenix, and all of Phoenix's spells are dot damage. Basically, like if you try to armlet toggle while you're covered in dots like this, like you're just gonna die. You can't really like take advantage of that. Whereas if you have blade mail, it's quite valuable. You can do a lot of damage to this guy. And also, like you said, it's very good against Clinks. But let's talk about this specific fight. Alright, so we TP bottom. I think this is fine. Just gonna keep farming. Don't have any vision on Phoenix right now. I see Slardar go in. Okay, so you stun. This is fine. It forces out the egg. At this point, you guys should both be hitting the egg. Okay. So if we look at Supernova, it is 5 attacks to destroy at level 1. It's pretty easy for one hero to get 4 attacks off. Like, if you just start hitting her as soon as she pops the egg. As long as you don't have Fire Spirits on. And in this case, you did have Fire Spirits on. So you could probably only get, like, 1 attack before the egg pops. But you have an Invoker buddy here, who, if he plays properly, he'll just start hitting the egg immediately. Maybe he'll, be really good and use Alacrity. And just cast Alacrity on one of you guys, and you guys can just kill the egg. And that's a dead hero. Like, she can't do anything at that point. You have to watch out for a Slardar stun, but as long as, like, Invoker does his job, then you'll kill the egg. So, in this case, I would, like, spam ping the shit out of egg, and just, like, try to get Invoker to hit it. It's kind of tough, because, like, he has to, do his part in this case, but I think that's a correct play here. It's just hit the egg. Because this guy just, like, basically suicided on you guys, but he gets away scot-free, so it's whatever. It's all good. Okay, so we're gripping up. Now's a good time to fight, though, because Phoenix used egg, and that's, like, a big part of our hero. Okay. Okay, this is weird. Okay, so Mirana only dies because she got courier baited, which is pretty funny, but... Okay, that's good target selection. Okay, no, I have nothing like bad to say about that. That was pretty fun. It's a good choice to go for Phoenix in this case, right here, because she had already used a Curse Dive. Yeah, I think it was great. The silence is really good from Skywrath as well. So good job. You definitely just TP home here though. You don't want to stay in this case. Like, actually, so it's okay to stay here because Clinks is showing, but a good Clinks player would have TP'd down here and just killed you, like for free. You did have ult at this point, but like there's a period where you're just under tower with like 2 HP, and he could have very easily TP'd. Just hit you once, but it's fine. So in this case, you can stay and farm this out because Clinks is showing on the map, and you know he cannot be here, or he cannot be down here. Yeah. So that's fine. But you want to back like pretty soon if you don't have any way to regen. You guys don't have an urn or anything, so okay. I also could have killed Slardar there with just like a stun and then Skywrath nuke, but that's alright. Okay, so TP home, great. Okay, everyone is going for Atos. It's pretty good Atos game. It's like... It's kind of iffy because they have so many gap closers. Like, they can just Icarus dive if they get Atos. They can leap if they get Atos. Slardar can sprint as well. Although it's not as effective as the prior two, but it's not bad. It's really good against Chen and Clinks, so it's not a bad buy. Okay, so complete our armlet. I still think going Blade Mail would have been better, but it's okay. Not the end of the world. So you start running bottom here, and again, this goes back to like trying to be selfish. I definitely would have gone top here. There's just a big opportunity for you to get a lot of farm here. Like you could push this wave out while they're like going for this. Like right now, you could be top lane in the same spot. Okay. Then by the time you get here, you could be farming these creeps. So there's just a big period here.
Yeah, yeah. I think I noticed I prioritize kills over farm, which is not correct.
Yeah, it's wrong because you can't, like, well, sometimes you can guarantee kills if you know the proper rotations and, like, how the enemy team can respond. But in this case, like, you probably don't. Like, most 6K players don't even know all of the cases in a game where they can get kills. So it's best to just default to farming, and that will never, like, do you wrong. At least not for a very long time, until you get to, like, you know, 4 or 5K. Okay. So let's talk about this.
Yeah, I fucked up because I forgot about Phoenix's stun, so I should have ulted earlier than I
Okay.
I feel like if I ulted it.
Okay. So it starts out with WRAITH King getting initiated on. Well, you initiate on Clinks, technically, but yeah. So this is fine. Okay. Okay, yeah. So you also got Centaur stunned. So yeah, I think it would have been okay if you ulted, but I'm still not convinced that it was a good fight. Just because of these Chen creeps. Like, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier with the team fight thing, but it's hard to see, like, if you're not experienced. So these Chen creeps add a lot to the fight in that they can just constantly CC you and pressure you, and you can't really do anything about it with your heroes. Like, if you had some sort of AoE damage, then you might be able to clear them, and that would be really good, because then you could, you know, fight these guys. But like, these guys just own you. Like, they just do so much damage. Like, this skeleton army just mauls you. Actually, it's pretty funny, but basically this is a key part of their team fight. Like, it's the most important part, with Phoenix being the second most important. And these heroes work together very well, mainly because Chen creeps can CC you while the egg is going off, and it's really hard to kill the egg in that case. But they don't even coordinate perfectly, and they crush you guys in this fight. Like, they force you back really hard. So definitely, like, number one, this is caused from prioritizing kills over farm, and it just wasn't a good fight to start. Okay.
Pretty sure at this point the game plays out similarly to this in every fight. So if you keep going over, maybe we should switch to a different game. Because at this point, after like we play the game, obviously, every fight is just conflict. And we just gradually.
Okay. Yeah. So we should go to a different replay. You're probably right. To recap on this game, though, it's definitely you guys did not play it selfishly enough. You just need to prioritize your farm, and like, prioritize going to fights that you can win. And if there aren't any fights that you can win, just push as hard as you can, and you'll help your team this way. The worst way to lose is just by like listening to your teammates who want to fight when you know it's a bad, when it's like not good. That is the worst feeling, because like, oh, if I just trusted myself, we could have won. Definitely just farm and prioritize yourself when you're playing core heroes. Okay, so let's if you have no other questions for this game, let's jump to a different one.
Yeah, it's fine. Let's do that.
Okay, cool.
You want to do the pick a? Let's do a Juggernaut Witch Doctor.
Okay, sure.
Because those are like kind of like we play that lane a lot. That was
that's the first. It's the top game.
Oh, okay. Let's do that Witch Doctor. I'm pretty sure
sure.
Is pretty hard. Oh no, yeah, let's do this game. Let's do this game.
Okay.
Because we were doing really good, then we were doing really bad. We ended up winning, but there was this kind of awkward part of the game where I was kind of panicked.
Okay, so you have some interesting heroes, to say the least. Jug Witch Doctor is a pretty strong lane. I'm a fan, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, we play.
Can you give us like 2 seconds? A close friend of ours came. We're just gonna say hi to him. We'll be right back.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Alright. Sorry about that, Echo.
Yeah, no worries, man. It's taking me forever to download anyway.
Yeah. So I've been playing a lot more Witch Doctor. Just I like it a lot, even in solo queue, because I feel like even though I pick OD mid, I almost always fight for it, and no one ever plays support. So actually, I'm able to impact the game more as Witch Doctor than I can with OD sometimes, just because like I can actually play support and I can try to set up for the team, and my ult still gives me really strong just potential to like carry.
Yeah, no, I think Witch Doctor is a great hero to learn support on for sure. He's like a good backup hero for sure. I think the biggest thing with him is you can just win your lane by yourself in most cases. He just does a million damage.
Yep.
Like, it's great.
Just getting Q and a Maledict with a couple autos, you can almost one-shot anyone.
Oh, it's definitely a good hero. Big fan. Okay, so it looks like you're laning against an ogre? Tiny? I have no idea. This is a weird hero composition. We'll see though. Alright, so it's a Death Prophet or a Medusa or an ogre. Some weird shit. Oh, let's look at your item, so.
I think it's Ogre and Medusa was the lane. We laning against Ogre and Medusa.
Okay. That's pretty weird, but it's all good. Items look totally fine. Did you buy Sentry Wards on one of these heroes? You did not. Okay, so this is something I'll preach until the end of time. Sentry Wards are actually more important than Observer Wards if you're going to be solo supporting. A lot of people disagree with me on this, but I think the most important thing about supporting is being able to pull and deny vision. And if the offlaner just runs up to the lane and blocks his camp, and you don't have Sentry Wards, you can just like auto lose the lane with no counterplay. You can pull here, but this one is much easier to contest. That pulling is also the best way for you to get levels too, because you don't want to just be leeching XP the whole time. So I think in a case where you need to choose between Sentry Wards or Observer Wards, it's better to get Sentry Wards. It's also not bad to get both and just, you know, sacrifice your regen. But I prefer just buying Sentry Wards personally. You know, actually I don't recommend doing this because like your team might, you know, troll or whatever and just feed because you didn't buy wards. I've had people do that. It's stupid as fuck, but people do it. But yeah, definitely try to get Sentry Wards. They're so important for the safe lane.
Yeah, I definitely.
Okay, so let's talk about this level 1 thing. Okay, so I don't like your positioning here on the Witch Doctor. It's just like you're positioned too close to an area where you don't have vision. Like theoretically, there could be just 5 heroes sitting right on this cliff here, and you would have no idea. Well, you would know that these 2 are not there, but there could be 3 extra heroes right here. Like unless you're actively looking at the map and you see other heroes. So I think in this case you could just stand here and it would be completely fine. It'd be totally different. Okay, so Dusa hits you, you see her, throw the cask. I would have saved the cask as well. You should wait until your team can like do damage off of it. This doesn't really give you much value. You do some damage, but it's not enough to warrant it. Whereas like if they had gone for the rune or whatever, like if you had it right here, you could cast them and then jump to the spin on them. And like it would be much more effective damage.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So Deuce ends up feeding. It's great. Okay, good salve. Okay, at this point you guys need to back off.
Yeah, we overextended.
Pretty sure we switched full
Holy shit. Alright, so yeah. So this is like it worked out good. Or it worked out well, but it's a bad play. Like this only worked out because these guys suck and they like kept chasing you. They're like, oh, okay, guys, they're in our jungle, let's kill them. But they're just like feeding. Yeah, so this worked out because these guys are not good. But it was definitely better to just like take the Medusa kill and then, you know, do damage to Ogre. And then when he starts running this way, you need to recognize that you don't have any more CC and he runs faster than you. So just back off and go to lane. And you'll be getting a bigger advantage by just getting the CS.
Right, that makes sense.
Alright, so
Off topic, like what role do you usually play in ranked?
I play offlaner support usually. But I've been playing a lot of carry lately, but yeah.
I play offlane pretty often.
Oh cool. Big fan of the role.
Void's I like playing Void right now. He's quite
Yeah, he's super good. He's really fun too. The guy's a good laner. certainly very fun. Okay, so I'm gonna try to squeeze as much information as I can into this period of time. So here, you're level 2, so it's not horrible, but you could be like, you would have much more experience if you had stayed in lane, rather than going for those crazy kills. Like, even with just getting 2 kills, or even with getting the extra kill, you would have more experience from sitting in lane.
Right, that makes sense.
Also, this is pretty hard to balance, but I don't recommend sitting in lane as a support, unless, like, this guy absolutely needs you here. Like, in this case, he doesn't need you to last hit under tower with him. Like, you're not really helping him last hit under tower. He can just do it himself. So there's no point for you to be here, really. You're just kind of leeching XP. It's not like game losing to leech experience, but it's not good because like he scales with levels as well. Like he gets much stronger whenever he gets higher levels in Blade Fury. You do too, but you can get your experience from pulling, and like then you guys don't have to split the experience. It's like fuck, it's hard to explain without numbers, and I'm not a numbers person to begin with, so I almost want to say take my word for it, but don't do that. Just try it in a game and see how it goes, and try to get levels on your own rather than leeching.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's different once this lane starts pushing out, and you guys are going to be like actively in a laning situation, where like there are heroes hitting each other like this. Holy shit! All right, that guy's so unlucky.
No, Echo, not fam. That's pure skill. I knew that.
Yeah. Whatever, man. All right. So it was a good decision to go on them, and it was a good spin. It's a little bit. The execution was a little bit off. But so a small tip that you can, or that I have for you when it comes to using spin, is there's actually an option in the key bindings list. It is, where is it? It's just move, and what this does is it like, here I'll try to. Can I see it? Yeah, basically that's what it does. Like you'll just stick to them. It doesn't work through fog, and so like as soon as you lose vision, it doesn't work anymore. But in cases like this where they're just out in the open, you can just spin and then move command on them, and you'll just stick to them, and they can't juke you. Now it's not super good if they go into trees or whatever, because then you have to start right clicking on your own. But it would be good in this situation, and she couldn't juke you. So I recommend trying that for sure. It's pretty good for Jug. But other than that, the execution was totally fine. Like, she would have died even without the second bounce. Okay. So you go for phase boots. I like it. Sorry, you're super quiet.
Yeah, I thought we had like a pretty good advantage like early on, so I went with phase boots first.
Yeah, it's like I think it might have actually been better to go Ring of Health in this case. Basically, yeah, because you're gonna build Battle Fury eventually, or hopefully anyway, and you don't have much regen left anymore, and Witch Doctor doesn't either. So like he can't give you any regen. So against a hero like Medusa, who's really good at harassing with Mystic Snake, she could like very easily push you out of lane over time, like which is with chip damage. But if you get a Ring of Health, it's much harder for her to do that. So I would recommend to do that. Now, if you had full mana still, then going phase boots would be okay, because you could make an aggressive play with the movement speed and damage. But in this case, since you're low mana, I think it would have been better to save your money and go for a Ring of Health.
Okay.
Missing middle.
Okay, so you definitely want to pull at this point. Like, this Dusa should not be able to farm like this. The lane needs to be back here for sure. So you can pull this camp or this one, and it would be fine. If you pull this one,
me, right? Like that's just me aggressively pulling out camps.
Yeah, it's pretty much on you.
All right,
it's technically your job to do it. Jug can do it as well, but it's much better if you do it, because that way Jug doesn't have to miss any CS.
Yeah, there's no reason for Jug to do it. It's all on me.
Right. I mean, it's not the end of the world that these guys are farming, but they could not be farming. And, farming is better than not farming, so you don't want your opponents to farm. Alright. So, yeah, there's not much to talk about here. You guys can't really make an aggressive play because Jug doesn't have mana for spin. Yeah, so definitely the thing here is just to pull and start, like, waiting for your mana to come back up, trying not to take too much chip damage.
Can just the stealing.
If you want to go ×2 and just kind of see like any big plays, go from there.
Sure. I mean, I've been speeding it up a little bit, but.
I mean, you're the six. You know, you're the coach here, so you tell us what's the best way to like look at the game and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just listen.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think you guys have been playing this fine so far. Other than like the pulling thing. Like the pulling thing is pretty big. I think if anything, from what you should take away from like this game in particular, at least the first 5 minutes, is that you really want to focus on keeping the equilibrium here. Like you should never let your lane just be in this position right here. If you have your camps blocked, then it's different because you can't really pull it back without denying really hard.
Yeah.
But if you have these camps open, then there's not really an excuse to have the wave up here. I think if you guys keep playing like safe lane duos, you should practice just like messing with the equilibrium and seeing if you can like move it wherever you want it with pulling or just like denying it together or something. Like you can start it in the default spot where the creeps meet at the beginning of the game. Then you can say, hey, let's push, and then stop it right here through like denying and pushing the wave a little bit, and then say, all right, let's pull it back a little bit and pull it like just to the edge of tower range. That's a pretty good exercise if you just want to mess around. But that helps a lot for sure. But let's go through. I want to look at like big picture stuff. This is hard to say here, but you kind of need regen at this point. Like they have a very poke-oriented lane, like with a Mystic Snake and Ignite. It's pretty hard for you guys to lane here. Oh shit. Okay, you barely live. Holy shit. Yeah. So you can't deny Ogre's Ignite, so that's pretty scary. But the bright side about this is you have to go back to base, and you will get some HP, and you won't be really low anymore. But their lane is actually stronger than yours at this point, if you guys don't go for all-in kills. So I think it's hard to identify that at the start of the game, like especially when it's a weird lane, like something you've probably never played against, like Medusa Ogre. This is really uncommon. So I think you want to try and see like how the lane is going to go. Generally, like if it's a poke-oriented lane, then you want to see if you can kill them, and if you can't, then you're probably going to lose. And if it's a kill-oriented lane, you want to see if you can poke them without dying, or something like that, or just kill them first. I don't know. Just try to identify the strengths of your lane and the opponent's lane, and make decisions, based off that. You might not be good at it at first, but over time you'll build up the skills that are necessary to like analyze the lanes, and that's pretty helpful, I think. But, I'll keep going a little bit. Okay, I also would have bought like probably some regen, like maybe a set of tangos over the slippers. This is a poke lane, so you want some kind of HP regen. You do have healing ward, so that's fine. But in that case, you could have gone like Clarity or gotten a Ring of Protection to build into a Basilius or something like that.
Is my build fine to just rush Aghanim's?
No. Not in most cases anyway. It's like not bad. So what? You go for Arcane Boots first?
Generally, but since we were so ahead, I'm just like, fuck it, I'll go Aghanim's.
Okay. So in this case, you went like Energy Booster. I think the Energy Booster is incorrect. You did go for Arcane Boots eventually. So this is like not bad. Actually, I would prefer you go Arcane Boots over straight Aghanims, just because like the mana is really nice for Jug. You can also build this into Aether Lens later, which is a really good item on Witch Doctor. Part of his weaknesses are like just he has low range.
Yeah.
So it's a good item for sure. I think going Arcanes is fine. I usually like getting Wand first, just because the extra HP is really nice. But yeah, it's up to you really. I think Arcane Boots are fine. You can also choose to get like an Urn or something like that. It's quite helpful.
Should I ever get Mechanism on Witch Doctor or
no? No, you don't have the mana to support it really. I mean, maybe if you get Arcane Boots, but if you can get Arcane's mech at a reasonable time, then you're probably going to win no matter what items you buy. Because that's just like so much gold.
I had such plans.
Oh, okay.
Like, people still tell me you have to get mech, because like, that's like the support item, but...
No, fuck that. No, no. Like mecha. So mecha is a really good item, but it's good if your team is going to group and make use of it together. And it's like maybe you guys will group, but you might not group at the the right times because of like it just being 2K. And like
the only time I ever get mech is when I get Guardian Greaves as like my last item. I just don't think it's very good on Witch Doctor.
Yeah, it's definitely better to just get like a 4-staff item or Ghost Scepter or like an Aghanims or something like that. I wouldn't go mech in like almost any games. Okay, so let's talk about this fight really quick. Basically, it leads off with you casking and then maledicting, and that's pretty fine. That's good. But basically, like you shouldn't go for an Omni here just because there are so many creeps. Maybe later when you're like level 16, it's an okay play, but even then, it's not super good. It's totally fine to just hit him. Like if he gets maledicted and then you just run up and start hitting him, that's completely fine. Like you can just hit him a couple times here, and that's a good trade. You don't have to go for the all-in kill. So like I think this guy actually made a mistake. Like let's look at what Medusa is doing this whole time. Yep. Okay, so let's watch his movements. So he doesn't attack you there. Then he doesn't move. Okay, so he attacks you, and then he doesn't like cancel the animation to move. So you were dead to rights like a couple times there. But you get out of it, so it's not horrible. But it's a bad play. Just like you can't Omni Slash inside a creep wave. It doesn't happen. Maybe you get super lucky, but you shouldn't go for like lottery plays like that, especially when your ability has like 2-minute cooldown, over 2 minutes. All right, so gonna go back to base again. It sucks, but not the end of the world. Okay, TP somewhere to lane. Actually, one quick thing. So when you're looking to TP like this, you want to look at other lanes as well. You want to at least give it a glance to see if you can make something happen here and here. Like you just want to like check HP levels and try to form your decision on where to TP before you just commit to like TPing to this lane without looking at the other lanes. It's just a good habit to get into. You might not ever use it, but I think it's still worth looking. Okay. Do you guys remember any specific points in this game? Like that you want to talk about?
Nothing really specific. There's just like let's go to like mid-game team fights and we can fast forward to there.
Okay, sure.
You're running out of time, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. But,
no, it's okay.
We're like losing like mid-game team fights pretty hard because it's tiny and much.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Okay.
I was getting wrecked by that tiny combo where like I think I would swim and I would like just not be paying attention half enough to see the tiny was close by.
Yeah.
Dire's top tower is under
Okay.
attack.
Say you get pretty close to dying here. Let's see what happens.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
So at this point, he only has Aghanims and like AC components. He does do a lot of damage just because he's tiny, but he's also pretty tanky. It looks like you guys won this fight actually. Yeah. Okay, that was a pretty convincing win. Let's find something else.
I don't think I remember us actually losing.
Alright, sorry, what was that?
I don't actually remember us losing a team fight if we even
Okay.
I think this is just like an overall like this I think would be like a game that like from my perspective I would say like
Dire's structure under attack fortified.
which is completely from my perspective.
Right.
What I'd like to see is like where we think we did really well, all the flaws all the things we could have done better.
Yeah, like that first fight when we chased after Ogre Magi and Medusa, a good player would have gotten killed there.
Or maybe like you were saying, if you're pulling, the advantage could have been even larger than
Right.
it was for me as the character.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to like not watch the game and tell you all the things that you could have done better here, but I'll try to speed through and find some really quick. I think going for that ogre kill is fine. It looks like you guys just won the game here. It's getting pretty close. There's like 5 minutes left. Okay, yeah, let's watch it then. Really?
No, this is the Kunko one, remember?
Okay, okay. Okay.
I remember that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess we can break this down and just see what happens. I think spinning and hitting the racks is totally fine. You're basically guaranteeing that you get the racks here.
That's all I really wanted.
Yeah, so the positioning was a bit off by Witch Doctor, though. You shouldn't be so far up in this case. You should just be farther back. Your job is not to hit the racks. Like, Jug is perfectly capable of doing it, and he can get it himself. Your job is just to support him. So you should be standing farther back here. Like, maybe right here. Down the cliff. Then you could still be healing him, like, when he gets in danger, but you won't get hit by the avalanche. You'll have more HP to work with. And, yeah, you get your spells off, so it doesn't matter so much, but in another situation, it might have mattered.
Yeah, no, you're definitely correct.
Okay. So, you guys don't even really win the fight. It looks like DP ends up dying, but it's because she sucks. Yeah. So even with this like huge boat chain frost combo, you guys only have one hero left. It's not really that convincing of a win, and that's mainly just because Jug didn't have Omni and he died before the fight even started, really. But you did get the Rex, so that's fine. Okay. I think there might have been a better fight earlier on. Okay, you guys just kill him.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So, you did say you get wrecked by Tiny, and that's like a little weird to me, because Jug is actually really good against Tiny, except for when Tiny gets Blink, then Tiny is really good against Jug at that point.
Well,
Basically...
I killed like 2 or 3 times, but I think I think that was me misplaying, because Spin is really good against Tiny, which you're right.
Well, it's okay.
Well,
it's like... Yeah, it's good if you can spin before he combos you, but the strength of Tiny is he can instantly do 1,000 damage with like almost no counterplay. Like he can just blink, toss avalanche, and it does 1,000 damage. It's amazing, and you can't like, unless you have really good reaction time, you can't spin during that time. But since he didn't go blink, there's never going to be a period unless he gets an invis rune where Tiny just like surprises you with an avalanche toss. Like you'll always see him run up. So. I don't know where I was going with this, but Tiny is good against Jug if he goes Blink, and Jug is good against Tiny if Tiny does not go Blink. So in this case, you should have been like completely fine in fights. Yeah, I don't have too much else to say. I guess I'll look at like item progression really quick, see how that goes. You go for Battle Fury S and Y. I think it's fantastic. So Jug is a weird hero because he's like very slot starved. Like, you want a TP always because you're really good at fighting. And you also want to be able to spin TP whenever possible. And you also want your phase boots, and you also want Aquila because they're just good stat items. And for this case, or for this reason, I don't go Wand usually. I think having the like Clawing Blade or Battle Fury and like a Yasha item is more value than the Wand. I know Arteezy does this as well, like he'll skip it on this hero, just because you don't have the slots to like afford it.
Okay.
Yeah, I recommend trying that.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Often actually, we're like, okay, I build Wand pretty often, but I mean, I don't have a good reason for doing it. I just that like some Wand, right? So maybe are you recommending that like I don't build it because I need the extra slots?
Yeah, pretty much. So you need the slots very early. Like as Jug, you buy a lot of small items like Aquila, phase boots. You have a Clawing Blade early on, and you usually buy like a PMS or something in lane. So you have to choose what item to sell really quickly, like early on. And
so I have this question, and it's a pretty new question, but
okay.
I've often actually bought Wand because what do you do with like, let's say you have 2 iron branches in your inventory or something like that, and then you're just, do you sell those off instead of? I mean, is that what you do? Like,
it depends on if you're going to build Wand or not. If you want to build it, then it's you build Wand, obviously.
Right,
but
so if you're building Wand, you just sell those pretty early on.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if you're slot starved anyway. If you have no reason to sell them, like you don't need the slot, then you can just keep them, and it's fine. Right. But yeah, I think buying a Wand as a default is like totally fine. It's a really good item. It's not even bad on Jug. I just prefer having like a PMS or a TP. Um,
Yeah.
if you have to choose between Wand and TP, then definitely get TP. At least on this hero.
Okay.
But it's not bad to have this. Like, it's just a personal preference thing. Okay, so we go for a standard Battle Fury SNY builds. That's fine. I think in this game I would have gone Manta though. So your Manta illusions will die pretty quickly, but Manta is really good against these heroes. Basically, like they have a lot of targeted spells in addition to a silence. So you can Manta off a silence, number one, which is really great. And also, if you Manta dodge like Tiny Toss or Avalanche, like as soon as he blinks on you, you'll negate a lot of damage. Also, you can Manta dodge Ignite, and you can make it hard to get Fire Blasted. Like if he goes to cast Fire Blast on you, you can Manta, and then that'll like cancel the cast, and he'll have to cast it again and hit the right target. So that's tricky. That's good for you anyway.
Yeah.
But mainly you buy the Manta for the silence, because silence is a big deal, like for a Jug. You need to cast your spells. Okay.
So, but that Manta play is a pretty high skill cap play, though.
Well, what I'm trying to.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've had some like, and this could be from just not playing enough, but like item decisions. I try to rationalize like what like. I have like a standard Battle Fury Sanjayasha, and then the items after that. I'm not always sure what should be like my next item. Often, Battle Furies, Butterfly. If I'm ahead, is sometimes my next
Radiant's
item
bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Like, what I'm trying to say is, I'm wondering like what I should like. What would make me better at itemization? Is it just playing more, or?
It's playing more, watching other people play more that are really good. Like I would say watch some Arteezy Jug games. His Jug is like fucking bonkers. It's so good. Also, you want to like try to keep your options open. Like try to keep an open mind when it comes to this kind of thing. Like
Fancy beating you here.
So just looking at the item list really quick, there are a bunch of different possibilities you can do. We can roll out the support items like Necro, Aether Lens, Veil, all of these, Dagon. Like none of these are like possibilities. I don't think Aghanims is a possibility personally. I don't think it's good, but who knows. Refresher is an okay item if you have like activatables like a BKB or Abyssal. Then it becomes really good because like you can just refresh and you get an Omni Slash and an extra Abyssal or whatever. It's quite good. But you basically just have to like, and this comes with time and playing and learning like as you go. But you kind of have to see like what your team is lacking or what would be really good against the enemy team. So like in this case, looking at their composition, it's like a lot of right-click damage and a lot of physical damage, in addition to like tiny burst. But so I think you should prioritize armor and HP in this case. Once you have a certain amount of damage, like so, I think going Butterfly is totally fine. You have like 2k HP and a lot of armor and evasion from your stats, so I think this is a fine choice. Yeah, it's hard for me to describe like which items to go in different games, just because there's no like easy trick for it.
Right. So let's say just for this game, you would have suggested.
Yeah, Manta definitely.
Okay.
I think that's something you can focus on actually. Like for now, as far as item decisions go, you go Battle Fury first, and like 99% of games don't really worry about that so much. That's totally fine. But you want to choose which Yasha item you buy. You can either go S and Y in games where they don't have silences, or you can go Manta in games where they do have silences, and then you can start from there. Eventually, like you can start working on other things, but you want to get this down first because this is like there are going to be very few games where you don't complete your Battle Fury and a Yasha item, so you might as well like get that decision down before you move on.
Right.
But yeah, I also recommend watching some really good players play Jug a little bit too, and see what items they go in which games.
Yeah.
Okay, so also I recommend trying Blink Dagger after you get like a Yasha item and Battle Fury. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I've done it probably
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
10% of games, but
Mm-hmm.
when I have built it's very good.
Yeah, no, it's pretty fun for sure. But yeah, that's kind of all I got as far as items go. Keep an open mind for sure.
Can you, if you're hitting the tower from not high ground, can your auto attacks miss?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Not if you have MKB though.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
Yep. Also, like I don't think any abilities give True Strike anymore, but Sniper used to be really good at hitting towers because he could headshot proc, and he wouldn't miss on those attacks. But that's pretty good. But yeah, you can do that.
How's my build by this game?
You went Aghanims, BKB. It's okay. I think I would have gone Aether Lens before completing BKB.
That's fair.
I mean, mainly just because they don't have a lot of ways to cancel. They have Silence, and they have Avalanche, and they have Fire Blast. I guess if DP is saving her Silence for your Death Ward, then I guess it's okay to go BKB.
It was
But
mostly Magi that was kind of fucking me.
oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I guess you could just like Force Staff and Fire Blast and cancel it. That makes sense. Yeah, no, I think your item build is fine. You went Aghanims first, right?
Yeah. So Boots, Aghanims, BKB, 1.
Okay. So just real quick for items on Witch Doctor, you don't want to neglect the support items. Like Force Staff can be really game winning in games where there are like really kiteable melee heroes, and this is one of those games actually. It's really good against Tiny if he doesn't buy a Blink Dagger, and in this case he didn't until way later. So like if he ever goes on somebody, you can just force them out, and he can't hit them anymore. Like it's really good. You can buy that against like Ursa or Lifestealer as well, like other melee heroes.
Right.
Real quick, other items that are good are Medallion if you want to do Roche. Urn is I usually buy Urn on Witch Doctor actually, just because I like the HP and the pure damage goes nicely with Maledict.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
You can also buy Glimmer. That's really good. The Invis is nice.
And I can think Urn is pretty good just because like I don't really get points to my W and it gives sustain.
Yeah, no, that's true too. Like the sustain is really nice.
Yeah, I'll definitely consider Urn and Aether Lens obviously and Glimmer Cape too.
Yep. No, those are both great choices. I mean, there's support items are like much harder to do, or much harder decisions to make, just because like you have to know which heroes to cast them on and everything like that, and you know when which items are good. But yeah, I think just sticking with these few decisions is good. Like Force Staff, Glimmer, Aether Lens, and Urn. You can just stick with those for a bit.
Yep.
Okay. Well, if you guys have any like final questions, now is a good time.
I mean, I'm pretty good. If I have anything, I'll like Skype you later in the week.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna play a few games with all of the suggestions you made and just see how that goes.
Okay, awesome.
And I'll definitely practice bringing creeps into lane.
Oh yeah, pulling. Yep.
It's like super good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a key thing. If you guys get good at pulling and like controlling creep equilibrium, you don't even have to get better at Dota. If you just get better at this, and you'll probably get to like 3K if you guys just keep playing games. Like I'm dead serious. Like this is a huge part of Dota. At least in pubs, it's like super important.
All right. Yeah. No. I'll definitely keep working on that because that's something I definitely neglected.
I mean, I didn't even think it was that big of a deal. I really didn't.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah. That's good to know.
Like basically when you do this, you deny XP and you also create XP that wouldn't have been there otherwise for your heroes.
Yeah.
It's just like it's super good, so good. Okay, well, yeah, I hope this helped, guys.
Yep. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Remember to be selfish.
Yeah.
Middle tower is under attack.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, thanks for your time. Yeah, if you have any questions, just shoot me them on Skype. It'll be good.
Yeah. No, we'll be in touch.
Okay, awesome.
Yep. Have a great night, man.
Okay, you too. Peace, guys.
Yep. Peace.
Take it easy.